everyone, and welcome back to a new season of the Intelligentleman. I am your host, Will Walker, and it's great to be back. It's good to be alive. It's good to be here with you all. I really appreciate all the support from all the people who have continued to call for this podcast and call for me to want to be here. And I think it's very critical that we understand that life sometimes is made to be lived, right? So a lot of times, when it comes to these things and what I've found in this time that I've been away from doing the podcast is that, I see life for what it is. It's a place to share. It's a place to be. It's a place to grow, evolve, and I'm just extremely grateful for all of the things that have been coming into my experience and all of the other extensions of life of the other people that have been there for me, with me, and have continued to walk this path. This show it's just a preliminary. It's just an opening. I wanted to go ahead and just kind of get it going and just really take this time to set the theme, to set the mood, to set the energy of this coming season and what some of the things that we're going to be talking about during this season. And we're going to be talking about prosperity. We're going to be talking about abundance. We're going to be talking about spirit. We're going to get back into the spiritual talk and what that means and how it's an ever growing understanding and awareness. It's not just about manifesting and being able to gain the material things in this life that you may desire. Because one thing that I've come to know is that at a certain point you no longer desire those things. It's not a desire of yours, and therefore you don't necessarily wish to manifest them. You wish to manifest the principles of life that come through you and flow abundantly through all. And you wish to understand that, and you wish to understand that at a deeper level. In order for you to go deeper, you have to, which is one of the things that I learned recently. I just learned this recently. I'm constantly growing and evolving and learning. But I learned this recently. You can't hold on to old beliefs and expect new levels of understanding. It can't work that way. It ends up being a paradox, if you will, where you really hold yourself back, and the more that you feel like you want to grow, the less that you actually grow, right? So it's interesting because there were studies done on this, and it was known as the backwards law, right? The more you desire something, the less it becomes yours, because what happens is let's use abundance for an example. The more you want to manifest abundance, the less you're living in abundance, because you're literally saying that you don't have abundance by wanting to get abundance, by wanting to manifest abundance. So you wanting to do that actually holds you back from your full potential. And so that being said, a lot of times we have to just kind of let go. That's where, me and some of my friends, we talk about flow, being in the state of flowing, where you're not wanting anything, you're allowing everything. And also there's another aspect of that, because some people can say, some people would say, well, what about the negative things? What about that? Do you want that? And the answer is quite simple. It's, you don't want anything. You don't want anything, but you allow it. And by allowing it, you allow, because sometimes we feel, and it's through our own alchemy, it's through our own creation, we feel like the negative outweighs the positive, when really it doesn't. It never can. It's impossible for that to happen. It just can't, right? And so, because, and I had this conversation with someone else earlier this week, like, the center of something for you is not the center of something for me. Just like the center of something for you is not the center of something for me. So it's all about perspective. So when we're talking about positive and negative, something that might be positive to me might not be positive to you. So that means that the centers are not the same, right? So this brings up a very interesting point that I think science is now kind of catching up with when it starts entering into the quantum realm of existence, where things can be, true. Two things can be true at the same time, or multiple things can be true at the same time, right? And that multiplies exponentially, right? And so when you start thinking in those terms, you start to understand how many possibilities are really available to you. Like, so in other words, when you say that I want it to happen this way, right? You're severely limiting those possibilities. And by severely limiting those possibilities, you are essentially slowing down the process, right? Because you're saying, well, I want it to happen like this. And so, okay, well, if it has to happen that way, then there's a lot of other things that have to fall in place, right? Versus, I just want to live abundantly. I just want to live peacefully, right? And I leave it at the most general way that I can. And by doing that, that abundance and peace comes to me in very unexpected ways, because first of all, I wasn't setting any expectations. But secondly, I have allowed myself to be open to different possibilities, right? And so by being open to those different possibilities, I have essentially opened up the possibilities of infinite possibilities, right? And so, those are going to be some of the things we kind of dive deep into, because it's a deep place to go. You can't, being that we are infinite beings, being that our soul is eternal, right? What is that? If you believe that you are eternal, that you don't have any end, right? Then how can you ever reach a pinnacle? You can't. You never will. It's always going to be an ever evolving, unfolding that's going to happen. And which is a beautiful thing when you can get that concept and you can understand that certain things no longer really bother you in the same way, because you understand that it's only part of a beautiful journey that you're going on, and that will never end. So it's one of those things where it's like, you know what, I'm just going to enjoy this. I'm just going to enjoy this journey because, I know that it's going to lead me to things that I have no idea and I could never imagine in my current state of being. And so as you grow and as you evolve, that begins to happen, and so those are going to be some of the things that we talk about. I was just learning. I actually took like a master class where, they were talking about some of these principles, and they were talking about meditation, right? And it was talking about how you can shift your energy, right? So, and this is what I really want to share with you all on this first episode, just to kind of give you a little taste of the things that we're going to be talking about for the rest of the season, because it's some powerful stuff. So when you're talking about shifting energy, when you're talking about, we're quick to say, everything's good, right? Everything's good. But is everything good? Like, is everything good in every aspect of your life? And if you can look at yourself, introspect, and it's not something you have to share with anybody or make known to the public. It's all about you, and it's all about, your understanding. And so if that's the case, if you can look at yourself and say, well, I'm doing very well in this area of my life, but in this area over here, I'm not really doing as well, right? There's a concept called energy shifting, where you meditate, you concentrate, you focus on where things are very well in your life, right? You focus on that, and you consciously, that's the key, you consciously shift that energy into whatever area of your life that you feel is not as great, right? And by doing that, you essentially change the vibration. You change the vibration, but there's some prerequisite type things that you have to do. Number one, you have to stop talking to yourself in negative terms. You cannot vibrate as high as you want to by constantly talking down to yourself. That's just like, think about it like this. If you have a child and you're constantly talking down to them, that causes psychological problems, right? That causes them to feel down about themselves, right? So if you think about it in those terms and understand that you have an effect on everything, then when you talk about yourself, you should always talk in a high frequency way, meaning you should always speak well of yourself, and it's not the speaking well of yourself like you're bragging or like you're arrogant or anything like that, but it's a difference, and it's so amazing to me when you notice these differences, because you think about it like, okay, what's the difference between arrogance and confidence? What's the difference? The difference is the intention. The difference is the energy, the spirit of it, what's behind it. What's behind that is what causes it to have a totally different frequency, right? So, and it's hard for people to tell the difference. That's why people think that if you're confident, that you're arrogant sometimes, right? Some people think that, because it's a very fine line, like, and most people can't really tell, and that's okay. It's okay, because technically it's an internal process. It's something that we should all be looking at for ourselves. It's not something that anyone else should really be trying to gauge you on, right? But the way that our society has come to be, we tend to do that. Like, we tend to look at people and say, oh, they're arrogant. They think they are. They think they know everything, instead of saying, let me draw from this experience whatever I can and since I understand that that person's journey is that person's journey, as long as I don't impose on them and try to impose my will on them, and they're not trying to impose their will on me, then that's their experience, and that's where we learn to love each other despite our differences and despite the things that really have no bearing on, you know, who we are, who we truly are, right? And so I want to share something that I learned with you from that masterclass, and he spoke on luck, right? Because a lot of people, you know, once you get into a spiritual sense, you know, a lot of people kind of shy away from luck because they have come to the understanding, and they say that you know, that they understand that their power is, you know, that they're manifesting, right? That we're manifesting our reality as we go, right? So once you and people are manifesting their reality, whether they're consciously doing it or not, you know, you are manifesting your reality. And so, you know, we look at luck differently. We say, well, luck is not really, doesn't really exist, right? Because if luck existed, then how are we manifesting our reality? But luck, the true meaning of luck, and what it has been coined by many spiritual teachers versus what, you know, popular belief of what it is, and what I personally love the definition of it being. It's an acronym that stands for living under cosmic knowledge. Living under cosmic knowledge. So let's think about this for a second. Luck. Living under cosmic knowledge, meaning you're not thinking with this mind. You're thinking with the cosmic mind that connects us all, right? The consciousness that flows through us all through life, through being, right? Through being in existence, right? It's all connected, right? That energy, that flow, that life, that God consciousness, right? That higher consciousness. When you live under that, people would say that you're lucky, right? They would say, oh, that guy's lucky. She's very lucky, you know. But really, it's not luck. You're just living under the cosmic knowledge versus your own knowledge, like your own finite knowledge. Because there's things out there that you have no clue about, and that really you can't really gain insight about it until, you know, you get to that experience, right? If you're using this empirical mind, right? Because that's what science is. When you get the evidence, then you study it, and then you come to a conclusion. That's science. But when you go to the metaphysical, when you go into your meta sciences, which quantum is one of those, because anything that tells you that one thing can be in multiple places at one time, that's not traditional science, right? And that's what quantum physics tells you, that it's called superposition, right? This is a scientific thing. We know about this. That you can literally, this is literally a thing. One particle can be in two places at one time, and we know this now. It's one particle. It's not multiple particles. It's not you know, moving. So it is vibrating to the point where it's in two places at one time, right? So to understand that and to know that, okay, well, if that's the case, if I can tap into that type of energy, that knowledge, right? That means that I can know what, you know, the universe knows, right? So, you know, it's a very deep concept, and it's something to think about. But yeah, I wanted to share that with you all, just to kind of change your perception of what, you know, luck is. You know, because people like to say, oh, he's just lucky. Yeah, they're just lucky. You know, they just got some luck on their side. You know, and you know, to someone who only sees that, then that might be true. But for when you expand your mind to more possibilities than you understand. That it's really living under cosmic knowledge. You're just living under cosmic knowledge. You're no longer bound by your terrestrial knowledge, right? Another thing I wanted to share was, there's a new concept that people haven't really started to. So when you're talking about manifesting, right? When you're talking about making things happen, right? There is another level, right? There's multiple levels, because if we're infinite, then there's infinite levels, right? But there's another level that you get to where it's surrender, where you surrender. And surrender is not in the sense of I'm giving up. I'm not just giving up. That's not what surrender is. Surrender is understanding. It's understanding that what's happening cosmically, what's happening, or being orchestrated, as they say, by a higher power, by something greater than myself, right? What's being orchestrated, right, is greater than me, right? And so I'm gonna allow that to happen. Like, I'm gonna allow that. I no longer feel the need to want to make it happen. Like, I don't feel that need anymore, because it's going to happen. I want to enjoy that. I want to enjoy watching the unfolding, and you want to look inward when you're doing this, right? So I'm looking inside of myself, and I'm saying, wow, I'm watching my soul evolve and unfold into becoming its greatest self, right? And as I'm doing that, wow, all the things that I wanted at one point just flow to me. I don't have to want it. It just comes. But that's because, and it's said in a lot of different ways, in a lot of different books, a lot of different places, people. But we are made for positive things. Like, we're not made to be in a bad place, right? That's not why we're here. So if you can understand that, then you can understand the beauty and the necessity of all things. Like, it's an experience. We're experiencing life as it happens, so yeah, those are some of the things that I wanted to share, but there's going to be a lot more. There's going to be so much more that we're going to be talking about this season, and I'm excited about it. There's also on the next episode, I'm going to unveil a new intro. I'm going to have an intro. I say new intro, but it'll be the first intro, and I'm going to unveil that, and I really hope you guys like it, and I'm really excited about it. Oh man, there's so much going on. I'm so excited to be able to share with you all these things that are going to be coming to fruition this season. This is the season. This is it. And it's going to help so many people's lives. Like, that's the key for me. That's key for me. Helping other people. Watching the unfoldment of life and positive things in everywhere. In everyone and everywhere. That's really what I look forward to the most. And I'm so glad and I'm so grateful that you all could be here with me and share this with me. And so I hope y'all are ready, because it's coming. This is the first one, but it's not the last. And I appreciate you all for your support. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Y'all take care and y'all be safe, okay?